Hi, welcome to our first Mays County Master Gardener gardening blog, 10 minutes at a time. We're going to try to do it once a week, but we may go every few days because we're in the throes of gardening season and we want to make this as informational and meaningful as we can for you. So make sure if you have any questions, post them in comments and one of the master gardeners will get to you as soon as we can. So as freezing as it is today, it's hard to believe that we're really in the middle of gardening season, but we are. So I wanted to jump right into the spring garden, and probably we need to start at the beginning, and that would be site selection. So we're at my house. I've got a lot of gardens because I tend to use up every spare little ounce of dirt to plant something. So we're just going to walk around my yard a little bit and let me show you the different kinds of gardening we can do. This is in-ground gardening, and it is just where we plant our spring garden so that once the spring garden is pulled up, we can plant okra because we love both, and it's a great way to switch around the different kinds of plants that you want to either eat or can or whatever you're going to do with them this summer. So as you can see, we've got some really good soil going on in here. This garden's been here for about 5-6 years. I work the soil every year. We add a lot of organics to it. The chunks that you see is from my good friend who happens to have donkeys and keeps me in donkey poop. And so that's the in-ground garden. Okay, before we leave the in-ground garden, I wanted to show you this little jewel. She came up volunteer. It is a wild blackberry bush, very thorny, and I should have probably pulled it out when it was young, but I got over a gallon of wild blackberries last year, so I decided to just let her live. This is my asparagus bed. It doesn't look like much right now, but in about 2 weeks after I have it cleared off, it's going to start giving us some awesome asparagus. There's only a few species of vegetables that are perennials, and asparagus is one of them, along with rhubarb that doesn't grow well in our area, but I wish it did. We're coming up on the strawberry bed. We had several gallons of strawberries last spring and summer, but for some reason everything died. And I have construction going on in the background, so I apologize. So I will replant this year with cultivars that come from Northwest Arkansas and Oklahoma that are probably going to be a little bit happier in our climate and our soil. This area at one time was my in-ground garden, and it looks pretty trashy right now, but 'tis the season. We started getting stormwater put on us, and so it stayed wet most of the summer until about July, and so it was no longer really useful for an in-ground garden. So we built these beds. They are built out of old fence board. They're 10 foot by 4 foot, which gives me about 30 square foot of garden space. I can plant 2 plants per section, and it gives me a pretty good stand. Now, you wouldn't want to use these for things that take up a lot of space, like pumpkins or melons. I did plant some squash last year, and it did really well until the squash bugs hit, and I didn't notice. So the last thing that I do, because we want to use up all the space we can, is use these cattle, I don't know, cattle feed comes in them, and I get them from Dr. Hammer. So I fill these with really good dirt, and what I love to do is plant my potatoes and sweet potatoes in here, because I can lay out a tarp and just dump it in the summer, get the potatoes out, shake them off, and then I'm ready to put the dirt back in, give it a little bit of organic matter, and it's ready for the next plant. This is where I have my sweet peas, my snow peas planted this year. They needed trellis, and so I'll put them in there. And then once the snow peas are gone, because they're an early spring plant, once I pull those, then I will fill that with gourds, and we'll have birdhouse gourds or some other fun thing for the kids to play with this fall. So we can talk a little bit more about amending the soil organic matter that you can use from your yard that is great to fertilize your soil. I have chickens, so I have a lot of nitrogen-rich chicken poop that goes in mine, along with Connie's donkey poop. It leaves lots of stuff from the kitchen. It's just, you'll find that you're throwing away about half of what you were before, because most of it's very good for your vegetables and very good for the worms that are keeping your vegetables healthy too. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, please post them in comments. One of the master gardeners will get back with you. And next week, or maybe even Wednesday, we're going to talk about how to amend your soil if it's not great, because most of the soil around Pryor isn't. We've got a lot of clay, and it has a lot of issues. So we'll talk about how to make that a little bit better, and also some spring plants that are spring seeds that you need to get in the garden now. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.